Anything else? I've asked you some questions. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that would be a good, interesting story about the township or the people? Or
I can't think of anything now. Maybe sometime I will.
okay, sure. Mrs. Hackett, what were you thinking of a story?
To walk from where they lived, clear into Apple Creek.
Mhm.
Piles of brick and stuff along
Oh,
the
yeah.
side of the road. They had walked the entire distance into Apple Creek and then back home again.
And that would be to go to the store or church or do whatever then?
No, whenever they paved the road
Yeah.
out here, they had brick piled alongside the road,
Mm-hmm.
in just this whole stack of them, and we'd walk the brick piles to keep out the mud.
Is that right? So
Yeah.
could you walk the whole way
Yeah, into Apple Creek.
on the brick piles?
Hmm
And wow. And mud. I never thought of mud. Was mud deep? I mean, was it really? Did it really get muddy?
Oh yeah, yeah. When they're working on a mud road, a dirt road,
Mm-hmm.
tearing it up,
Yeah.
and in the spring and summertime.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's the part about the old days that I never thought of, is how muddy everything must have been.
Yeah.
How about fires or fire department? Do you remember much about the early fire department at Apple Creek?
To call for them or anything, but we did have one fire up on Honeytown Road
Mhm.
that we had to call them to on our own house,
Okay.
and but other than that, we never had to call them for anything. But we do help them out whenever we can.
Now, calling him back, was that when using the phones years ago, or how did they get the fire? How would you,
So that would have been.
or is that more modern? More modern then. Okay.
It's
Mhm.
there's a very good fire department down here, I think.
Mhm. Oh, there is. Yes, there is now. Just didn't know if you had any memories on the beginnings.
Yeah.
How about police? I never did ask you about like when you were a boy. Was there a sheriff, or who was in Apple Creek? Who was the law?
Oh, the sheriff was a law whenever I was young.
Okay. Did you ever see the sheriff? Or
No, we never had any occasion to call him or anything.
Okay. Now, would the sheriff have had a buggy way back then, or how did he get it around?
Oh, he get around. He had a, is I can remember back far enough. He had a car that he traveled in,
Okay.
and but I don't remember anything back farther than that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and there wasn't very many deputies at that time either.
Okay. Just a few of them then.
Hmm
Probably not much crime though.
No, there wasn't much, as far as that's concerned, there wasn't much at that time.
Nobody shot anybody or anything that you can remember?
Not that I can remember of.
Okay, that's good. I believe I've asked everything I can think of. And you've answered everything. Let me just check my notes again. That's super. This is exactly what I was hoping, is to get some good stories like this down and see if there's anything else.
Well, I'm afraid I'm not going to have stories like that.
Okay. Oh, you might have a few. Now, I've got 9 o'clock, and I don't want to, I don't want to overstay my welcome or anything like
That's
that.
fine.
That's all right.
No problem.
Do you, Mrs. Hackett, would you like to answer some of the questions now, or
I'll answer some of
is
them.
that convenient?
All right.
Okay. Were you born in East Union Township then, or were you?
Worcester.
You were born in Worcester. Okay.
I didn't have much to dealing with around here until I started running around with him.
Okay.
And that's when I was in high school.
So you met in high school then?
I started running around with him. A good friend of mine was going with a young Apple Creek guy, and that's how I met him.
Is that right?
But outside of that, I had no dealings or anything with East Union.
Okay. So you lived right in Worcester, right in town? Mm-hmm.
Well, for about 4 years, I think we lived out, I think at 302. We lived out in the country.
Mm-hmm. Oh, State Route
On a
302.
farm, yeah,
Mhm.
on 302, yeah.
Okay.
And I think I must have been maybe 4 or 5 when we moved into Worcester.
Mm-hmm. Am I too nosy if I asked when you were born? You can tell me if I am.
I was born in 1915.
Okay. 1950. May I ask your birthday?
March the 20th.
March 1915. That's super. So, what do you remember the dates being the movies and things like that when you were dating Mr. Hackett? Or what type of things do you remember doing with him?
I know we used to ride a lot in the car. He used his brother's car, but really it would just be a Sunday affair, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was in school, and so it would just probably be riding, or once in a while we might go to the movies or something like that. But it really wasn't not much wandering around.
Mm-hmm. So you lived on a farm when you were young, as you remember.
Yeah,
What do you remember about farm life?
Well, I know I was awfully young, and I decided I wanted to go fishing. Well, the farm was quite a ways off the road,
Mm-hmm.
and about halfway up the lane was a creek.
Mm-hmm.
Thank the Lord it wasn't a deep one.
Okay.
Anyhow, I decided by myself I was going to go fishing. I had a stick and a string. I probably was around 4 years old, something like that. I was going fishing, so I walked down to the creek. I wasn't down there very long until I fell in.
Oh no.
And I can remember bawling the whole way up the lane.
Oh no.
But I guess I'm lucky I didn't drown.
Mm-hmm.
The water was at least a foot deep. And I could have drowned there, but anyhow, I was going fishing with a stick and a string.
Mhm.
I didn't catch a thing.
You were determined. Do you remember old games and things like that you played as a little girl?
No, after we moved to Worcester, I really don't remember. I know there were some kids in the neighborhood I used to play with.
Mm-hmm.
We lived on Spink Street,
Mm-hmm.
and there were kids in the neighborhood we used to play with. I used to play with, but I can't. No, I'm not going to have near as much to tell as he did.
That's okay.
My life seemed dull compared to his.
How about like cooking and things like that your mother did? What type of cook stove
Well,
did they use?
oh heck, what was it?
Your mother worked at Toycraft for a long time.
Yeah, but no, before that she worked at
Buckeye Aluminum.
Buckeye Aluminum. I don't know that cooking was quite simple. You know what I mean? There's no frozen stuff or anything like that. It was quite simple.
I just didn't know if it was if you had gas in town, or was it wood
I think
and
they
coal?
probably did have. I
Okay.
wouldn't doubt it.
Her grandmother lived to be 101.
Did she really? Wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's amazing. What was your grandmother's maiden name?
Mary Shoup.
Shoup. She was a Shoup then. Okay. Well, that's neat. I guess I didn't ask much about laundry. How did your mother and grandmother do laundry years ago?
Wash tub
Horse tub. Okay.
and
Yeah, yeah. That's the way my mother had a scrub board
Did
Yep.
it by hand then?
Yeah.
and tubs.
Okay. Hang it out on the line,
mhm.
no matter if it was cold or not cold.
Then later on, they got a power washing machine that they run by a little gasoline engine,
Mm-hmm.
and that.
Mm-hmm. You let me know when I'm going too long, Larry. Or
Okay.
I don't wanna...
Well,
No, I'm talking about. Don't want you folks to be uncomfortable and be too
No,
late.
we're okay.
Okay.
We're fine.
What did your dad or your mom work at? That's unusual, isn't it?
She
That your
worked
mom worked?
at, let me see, oh wait, she worked, I think she worked for a while at a washing place where they did washing for people
Mm-hmm.
in Worcester. But I don't know how long she worked there, and I can't tell you exactly when it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I never knew my father,
Okay.
and so it was just mostly my mother and I.
Okay.
So
How about your grandparents? What do you remember about them? What did they do for a living and things like that?
well, my grandmother was they lived. Let me see. Well, they lived out on the farm. My mother and I lived with my grandparent,
Mm-hmm.
and then we moved into Worcester. And let's see. My grandmother, I think she worked in a place something like what my mother did, and then I can't hardly remember what she did then. That seemed like so long ago.
That's okay.
But I just can't remember everything.
That's okay.
Um,
Do you remember your grade school?
yeah.
What was your grade school like?
Bell Avenue School.
Mm-hmm.
It now is not a school. I think, was it Galt, bought it, had used it for something else.
Mm-hmm.
But I can remember one time when I was going to school, that was grade school, once a week we would take a little bit of change in a little paper and we'd bank it at
Okay.
the school there.
Okay.
And one time I had to walk about 3 blocks. I lost my money, and I was just heartbroken. So I think I must have talked to. I had one of the places I had to pass was a Catholic school,
Mm-hmm.
and I must have told some of the girls what happened. And anyhow, I got my money back.
Really?
Somebody had found it,
Oh, that was
and
nice.
they returned it to me. So I thought that was wonderful.
Well, sure. Were the streets paved then? Were they brick inside
Yeah,
Worcester?
no, they were all
So,
paved.
At that point in time, Worcester was more modern, we'll
Yeah.
say then. Okay. Do you remember, did you have a one-room school like Mr. Hackett did, or was Worcester, there was so many kids, did they have rooms? Or how did they teach
We
you?
each had our own room.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Do you remember how many people in your grade?
I'm afraid I don't.
Just a few or a lot or?
Wait, there were 100 and some in my graduating class when I graduated from high school.
That's big. If you think about it, that's big.
100, more than 100.
Mm-hmm.
But how many was in the class? Maybe around 20, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure.
Do you remember any pranks or anything like that when you were a little girl at school? Did anybody do anything ornery to you or you to them?
Well, I remember one thing, but that happened in junior high school.
Well, it's okay.
We had a wonderful teacher. In fact, she lived about a block away from where we lived after we moved to Worcester. And my mother got married again, and then we moved over on Knoll Avenue there. And this teacher was such a wonderful person. Well, we were having class, and I don't know whether one of the children had difficulty or what, but the teacher sat in the seat beside her. Well, the principal came in, but I won't mention his name. I've never forgotten it because I had a nickname for him.
Okay.
Came in and he started chewing out the teacher because she left the room. There was no teacher there in that room.
Okay. Chewing out, not to her, because she didn't see that she was there. Okay.
He didn't see she was there, and he was really kind of nasty about it. She never said a word. She just simply got out of the seat and stood up. He looked at her and turned around and walked out of the room.
That's funny.
And I'll never forget him.
Oh boy. You never had to go see him, did you?
Nope.
No. Okay, you were a good girl. Oh, I asked you about dating a little bit, and you said you remember riding in the car. So, when you first got married, where did you folks live at?
Where we first lived, when we were married, down on
Let's see.
down there, the next road, east and west, south of 250. Remember that?
Was it in East Union Town?
Oh, that, yeah, you go south from Apple Creek,
Uh-huh.
down, you know where Kenny Orr lives?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that
a house just west of where Kenny lives.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Is it,
There
I'm
then.
not,
Bus.
Bus Road, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. So you lived on
Bus
Bus Road.
I think it is.
Okay. So that's the township line, isn't it? Or is it?
Yeah.
I think
So-
it is.
So you're just kind of all over on the edges, aren't you? But that's
On the
okay.
edge.
That's okay. You're still in East Union, though, for important things. Let's see here. How about the holidays for you, Mrs. Hackett? Was there anything special? I knew you mentioned Christmas trees, or you talked about the candles, or.
Oh, we used to put candles on our Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
Which I would not do now.
No. Probably
But,
didn't think anything then.
But now when it comes to Christmas and things like that, when I was a kid, I just don't remember them.
Mm-hmm. That's okay.
Because my mom worked all the time and I didn't get to spend much time with her and
What about 4th of July's or any other holidays?
shoot off fireworks.
Shoot off in town there then?
Mhm.
Did you ever see the sheriff or the more so in town or the law, or
No, I don't know. No.
wasn't really a big
It
thing?
wouldn't have been very often anyhow, no.
When you were trapped, did you have a horse and buggy in Worcester, or did you go by car or walk?
Walk.
You're in town, you walked. Okay.
Everything was walk.
Uh-huh. Did you have electricity for as long as you remember, or did Worcester have it sooner than?
Did we have?
I think you had electric in the house there.
Oh yeah, in town we had electricity. Yes.
I don't know about out on the farm there when you lived out there. I don't know about
I
that.
doubt it very much. That was too long ago.
Did you have the same kind of telephone as Mr. Hackett had in town?
I don't know whether we even had a telephone or not. Tell the truth, I don't think so.
Don't
I
think
don't
you
think
did.
we even had a telephone.
Did you have one when you lived on Bus Road down here? When you were first married?
No, I don't think. We didn't have a telephone down
No,
there.
I don't know whether we did or not.
I don't think we did.
Okay. I doubt if you would. I put in here the oil wells and coal mines. I doubt if that would apply, to where you were around.
Well, that's why I said
Yeah.
I don't have the answers to the stuff that.
That's okay.
My life seemed awful dull compared to his.
You had important jobs. You were raising children and everything. How about during World War II then?
Well, he was gone, and
So what
Larry
was-
and I lived alone on Honeytown Road.
Okay.
I I can remember one thing about Honeytown Road. There was one winter that was so bad, so much snow, that side road that cut across to Apple Creek,
Messner Road.
Yes.
Messner Road,
Hmm.
was closed.
So full of snow.
Yeah, I think for a month it was closed.
You weren't at war then. I
No,
mean, do you remember
he-
roughly? Was that the
he-
50s or?
He wasn't there when that happened.
Oh, okay.
The mailman used to, Ross Orr,
Hmm.
used to go down to the next road, go east, west, and then come up our road, pull in the driveway. He had an old Ford. Pull in the driveway, and we get the mail because you couldn't get to the mailbox because it was on that other road there that was closed.
Okay.
So
That was a question I forgot to ask, was about the 69 flood or about big snows or whatever. So is that,
69 flood.
yeah, did you have it in?
I was working up at the ACDC.
Hmm.
We're up high enough that it really didn't ever bother
Yeah,
us.
I worked for the school at that time, and I had trouble getting down to Fredericksburg.
Hmm. I bet you did.
Yeah,
Roads, washed out and things like that.
Fredericksburg and Holmesville.
Do you remember it raining all night, or did you know it was? Did you know it was happening at the time?
I
or-
knew it was raining an awful lot, but
Mhm.
I didn't know it was doing all the damage it did.
Mhm. Was it hard making do when he was in Japan, or?
Oh, it was. Oh, we got along all right, but it was just Larry and I in a fairly good sized house. We kind of bounced around.
Did you ever take any? Probably not. But did you ever take any long trips when you were very young?
No.
That long trip was walking in Worcester there. Yeah, and I doubt if too many people did. How about Doc Mayer then? Do you have any stories about Doc Mayer or memories of him?
Yeah. One time I went to him to get some medicine. I said, "My stomach hurts." I said, "My stomach hurts." He says, "Well, it isn't any wonder if your stomach's clear down there."
Okay.
All I knew was it was hurting.
Okay. All right.
But
Did he help you?
oh yeah, he helped. Oh,
Okay.
he was a very nice guy.
How about Jeff Carson? Do you remember anything about
I
him? or them?
remember him very well. Yeah,
Okay.
he was a very pleasant guy. Yeah, I remember going in there.
Yeah, I remember when he built the house up there where he lived for a long time.
That's a most unusual roof on that house. I mean, I don't know if it was then, but it strikes me as
It is.
very unusual. How about how about you? Did you have any favorite pastors, or were they the same ones as your husband's? or any?
Well, Reverend Mexroth, yeah, and Chadwell. I liked him too. I've liked them all pretty well. Some, of course, better than others. Some of them I kind of questioned their religious ideas,
Okay.
but they were all pretty good though.
Some of those ministers we had just stay for a year or two, and then they go on someplace else.
Well, one
And
of
we
them.
got most of them right directed from seminary.
Mhm.
And,
Well, one of them got out of the ministry completely.
Mhm.
Chadwell,
No, not Chad.
yeah, he was a salesman for General Electric for a long
Oh,
time.
that's right. But then I said, Chadwell, that's not the one I'm thinking of. It's the same one you said you liked. He was here for 15 years.
Hartman,
Hartman. Hartman is the one, yeah.
well, yeah, he went from here up to Michigan someplace. He was minister
Yeah.
up there.
15 years is a long time.
Oh, yeah. He
That's
used to
good.
drive school bus
Did
to
he?
help get in, come in.
I'm sorry.
He used to drive a school bus during the week to help.
Oh,
Get
to get
income
income in.
in,
I
yeah.
got you.
Yeah,
I understand now. Okay.
But
Well, thank you.
you're welcome. Like I said,
You have very good stories too.
my life isn't anything like.
Oops, gotcha.
Go ahead, sir.
I played football whenever I was in high school,
Tell me about that.
and our coach was Red Hunter.
Red Hunter.
I think he came from either Worcester College or Ashland College down to Apple Creek. It was his first coaching job.
Okay. So Apple Creek had a football team then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that one year we won the county championship.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Okay. What position did you play?
End.
You were an end? So did they pass to you then? Or
Yeah, one embarrassing thing was we were playing, I think it was Dalton, and we went up to our end of the field, and I was out in the open there on the end, and the quarterback yelled at me, and that he'd thrown the ball to me, and he threw it too hard, and I couldn't hold on to it.
oh no. Did he blame you then or not?
Yeah,
Did
I
he?
dropped the ball
Oh,
in
no.
the end zone.
Oh no. That's tough. Did you get hurt? That was playing football when you really played. Did
Yeah, and I did play a little bit of basketball too,
did you?
but I didn't like it as well as I did football, I don't think.
What were the helmets like?
The what?
The football helmets, what were they like that you were?
They were very good.
Okay.
They protected your head very well.
But were they leather or were they
Yeah,
plastic?
they were leather.
Leather helmets, okay. Probably no face mask,
Yeah,
right?
no, they had padding on the sides and on top.
Okay. hmm Did you have shoulder pads?
Yeah, shoulder pads and knee pads and leg pads.
Knee and leg pads then. Okay. Do you remember who else was on your team?
Oh, that Brenneman, you know, that I was talking
yeah,
about.
you mentioned Brennan.
He was on the team, and
Who was the quarterback?
Gordon
Okay.
was a quarterback, and I don't remember all the boys at that time anymore. It was on, but
Mhm.
of course there was 11 of us on there.
Yeah, there'd be 11, yeah. That's amazing because football wasn't played very much back then for a little school like Apple Creek. How about baseball or softball? Did the school have a team for that?
Oh yeah, they had just had a team for that. Basketball and they usually had a pretty good basketball team
Mm-hmm.
too. But baseball, I don't know just how good they did for that. I don't remember anymore.
Mm-hmm. So did you go to school in Apple Creek then some? I mean, at Apple Creek School?
Yeah.
Okay, so you went 8 years out at
8 years at Johnson's.
At Johnson's.
4 years at Apple.
4 years at Apple Creek then. And what year did you graduate?
29.
1929. Okay.
There was 12 boys and 12 girls in our class that graduated.
Oh, really? That was a big class, really.
Yeah, it was the biggest class that ever graduated at that time, from that time.
Okay.
And I'm the only boy that's left.
Oh, is that right? Of the 12 boys then?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there were just 2 girls.
And just 2 girls. Wow. Well, my wife was an oar. Were there any oars in your class, or did you go to school with any of the oars?
The oars.
Yeah.
Clayton, I remember him very well.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that,
He'd have been the oldest of that family.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember the other oars at all in school, but they were. I think most of them were younger than I am. Of course, they had some girls that was older than I am too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
be the Velma and let me think of the other one.
Yes.
Well, that's the one that comes to mind. That'd be Ross's sister.
Ross Orr was our mail carrier. His wife was an Orr.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, I feel like I'm wearing you down. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
I do have, again, part of the